Everybody, and welcome to my review for The Disaster Artist. The Disaster Artist tells a true life story about the making of the film The Room. And if you don't know anything about The Room, I highly suggest you Google it. But kind of to give you a brief general idea about it, is that it is considered by many to be one of the worst movies ever made. And it was directed by a man who can best be considered eccentric or described as an eccentric person. And that is Tommy Wiseau, who directed this film, produced the film, and also starred in the film, along with his friend Greg Sestero. So this movie is kind of about the friendship between Greg Sestero and Tommy Wiseau and kind of the process of the making of The Room. I actually highly suggest you go and watch The Room before you go see The Disaster Artist. It isn't necessary viewing to see that movie before seeing this movie, but I think you'll enjoy and appreciate The Disaster Artist so much more if you go and see The Room first. So that's my recommendation. I personally did see The Room before going in to see The Disaster Artist, and I liked it, I think, a lot more than I would have if I hadn't seen The Room. So be sure to see The Room first is my recommendation. In The Disaster Artist, Tommy Wiseau is played by James Franco and Greg Sestero is played by Dave Franco, both actors that I really appreciate and have loved for a very long time. James Franco, if you've seen him in a number of things, you know that he's a really good actor, and he actually directs this film as well. So I was really excited to see his comeback because it's been a while since he's really put out any good material. And his brother Dave Franco is someone who I think is a really underrated actor. He's only really been in really kind of crappy movies recently, but I really think that he's the standout out of all his movies, and he's really had kind of an untapped potential for a very long time. So I was really excited to see what these two could do together. Boy, was there a great payoff in this movie, because James and Dave Franco are absolutely amazing in this film. Not only as their respective characters, but I think that they really work with each other really well. They know how to play off of each other, and I think that's partly due to the really strong script for this film. It's based on a book that was written by Greg Sestero, so I think that the subject material is also written by someone who has a really good perspective on the events that, transpired leading up to The Room. But I think that the script really understood how the friendship of, Greg and Tommy is so really unique, and kind of how their friendship is basically what fueled this entire project, despite, how crazy it ended up being at the very end of the day. And I think that keeping that friendship at the heart of the film is what made this movie so special and so unique, is that it didn't get caught up necessarily in the kind of craziness and wackiness that The Room is and kind of the making of The Room, although it does acknowledge that and, presents the facts to us and kind of shows that process. The heart of the film, I think, really belongs in that friendship. Another thing I really liked about this movie is that it not only highlights kind of the wackiness of The Room, but also highlights the art of filmmaking and the necessary perseverance and passion and leadership needed to make a film in the first place. I love that it highlighted Tommy Wiseau's ability to do that, because it makes you think of The Room in a really different way. Ultimately, I do think that this is a really funny and fascinating film, because not only does it show you the origins of The Room, but also shows you the making of The Room. And in fact, some of my favorite scenes in this movie were when you were on set with Tommy Wiseau and the crew, not only because they were really interesting because of all the tension that was going on set, but also because they were the funniest parts of the movie. I mean, this movie really is laugh out loud, and I think it's really partly due to, and a large part due to, James Franco's performance as Tommy Wiseau, which is so spot on and so hilarious. I mean, I was laughing out loud in the theater. Overall, guys, I found The Disaster Artist to be a very simple, well-told story that was laugh out loud funny, but also had some really heartfelt messages about the creative process and friendship. I'm going to give The Disaster Artist an A-. I had a really fun time watching this movie. I think you guys should check it out. But again, watch The Room first, because you're going to like it a lot more if you see that, and then go see The Disaster Artist. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, do all those great things. And I'll see you guys next time.